today the history lesson which I will be taking is evolution. So lesson number 4, evolution. Lesson 4. The concept of evolution. Children, in the previous lesson we learned that how Earth was formed, how the unicellular animals were formed. First they appeared in water, and then from the unicellular animals we got the multicellular animals. I have shown you the picture also here. This is the unicellular protozoa which has only one cell, and from there these animals were evolved. Evolved is, the meaning of evolved means development slowly and gradually. So evolution means, I'll just read it off first. The development of plants and animals over many thousands of years from simple early forms to more advanced ones. It is a process by which the physical characteristics of types of creatures change over time. New types of creatures develop. The new species are more evolved than the original species. Now here, the word evolution is generally understood to mean gradual and continuous change. Evolution means gradual and continuous change. So, evolution in plant and animal world can be explained in the following manner. In the process of survival, by adapting to environmental changes, certain internal physical changes occur in some animals or species. Over a period of time, these internal changes become inherited characteristics seen in all following generations. Thus, a new species with characteristics different from the original one may be created. Such a species is usually more evolved than the original one. Now, there was a naturalist called Charles Darwin. He gave a systematic explanation of the process of evolution. He said, Charles Darwin, so he gave a explanation of the process of evolution. This person in the 18th century, 18 or 19 maybe, so he went around, visited many islands, collected species of plants and animals, studied them, and then he wrote a book on it. So, that is the origin of species. And he gave us the explanation that species is the kind of different animals. So, he said species which are capable of adapting to environmental species which are capable of adapting to environmental changes survive. And second, Species which are unable to adapt become extinct. Means they are no more born on this earth. Species which are unable to adapt become extinct. For example, the dinosaurs. Now look here. You can see the pictures of the dinosaurs. So these existed millions of years ago. In ancient times, there were many species of type of animal called dinosaur. Deinos in Greek means terrible and saurus means lizard or reptile. Dinosaur means a terrible lizard. The meaning of dinosaur is terrible lizard. Some of these dinosaurs were enormous in size. They were very, very huge. It appears that these species of enormous dinosaurs suddenly became extinct. Means they just disappeared from this earth. Some sudden natural disaster or environmental change is believed to be responsible for their extinction. There might have been some sudden natural disaster in which all the dinosaurs died, or environmental change. They could not adjust to the changes in the environment. Fossils of dinosaurs with wings have been discovered. It is believed that some species of two-legged and winged dinosaurs evolved into birds. Now here you can see they found some skeleton of dinosaurs, and this they have made a picture, a reconstructed picture of a dinosaur with wings, which they say these type of dinosaurs later on evolved into birds. Now stages of evolution of animals. The stages of evolution of animals. See, again I am telling you, in the previous lesson we learned how from unicellular organisms, multicellular organisms came into being, and different types of animals came on this earth. We have learned in the previous lesson that life on earth began with unicellular organisms known as protozoa. These unicellular organisms gave rise to multicellular living things. The multicellular organisms evolved gradually, and various classes of plants and animals came into being. The following are the stages of evolution of animals. Now first we have the invertebrates. Now what are invertebrates? Invertebrates. Invertebrates are animals which do not have a backbone, like a snail, mosquito, insects. I will show you a picture in which, here, this is a picture. There are different species of plants and animals. And here you can see the earthworm. And here there is a snail. So both these are invertebrates. They do not have a backbone. Then the next type is the vertebrates. Now vertebrates have a backbone. Animals which have a backbone are called vertebrates. Now look at the pictures again. This is an aquatic animal. It is a fish. Then this is an amphibian. Amphibian lives like a frog, example frog, it lives on water, on land as well as in water. Then these are the birds. Then reptiles. Reptiles are those which crawl on the ground, like a snake. And mammals. Mammals are those which give birth to young ones. And the babies of those mammals, they feed on the milk of the mother. They suckle. See. Vertebrates, animals which have a backbone are called vertebrates. Look at the ones given below. Aquatic animals, example, fish. Then amphibians, animals which live in water and also on land. For example, a frog. Then birds, reptiles, animals which crawl, for example, a snake. Mammals, example, a cow. Now, mammals are the most evolved animals among vertebrates. The following are the characteristics of most of the mammals. Growth of the baby in the mother's womb was sometime before birth. The baby is fed on the mother's milk for some time after birth. The platypus and some species of anteater. This is the platypus and an anteater. They lay eggs, but the young ones feed on them. Like the platypus and some species of anteater are exceptions to this. They are considered mammals because even though they lay eggs, they suckle their young ones. So these are the different types of animals. Now let us see the classification. Now living things. They are classified into invertebrates and vertebrates. And here we have vertebrates. Invertebrates are without a backbone, vertebrates are with a backbone. Then the examples are worms, snail, mosquito, and earthworm. Then vertebrates we have aquatic, that is fish, then amphibian, frog, then reptiles, snake, mammals. That is fine. Of course, there are many more examples. I'll show you the pictures of vertebrates and invertebrates. These are the invertebrates. They are without a backbone. And this side you can see they are the vertebrates. Okay. Now the third type is apes. The third point is apes. Now what are apes? See, apes are somewhat similar to human beings in appearance. These apes that lived on trees retained their ape-like form, whereas those forced to move around on the ground gradually evolved into human species. The first human species is called primitive man who lived in the African continent. Now, apes are somewhat like humans in appearance and they mostly lived on trees. Now, due to some reason, you have seen monkeys on the trees. They have a long tail, long hands, and they are swinging from one branch to another. But it so happened that due to some reason, some of them started moving away from that place where these monkeys live, and they moved towards the grasslands. And because they started moving, their legs became stronger and the tail started vanishing. It became the future generations did not have the tail. And they moved in search of food and for other purposes. So when they started moving, that species started evolving. See. However, in grassland, some ape species were forced to move around on the ground. These species evolved gradually and in time gave rise to human species. This happened first on the African continent. The first human species is called the primitive man. Primitive means the first. In the next lesson, we shall learn more about the evolution of human species. But still, I will show you the picture here. See, this is known as the Homo habilis and it evolved from an ape. And they went on evolving and finally there was a time when we humans have evolved. Now let's read about Charles Darwin. In the year 1859, Charles Darwin proposed his theory of evolution in his book on the origin of species. Before Darwin, the scientist Carl Linnaeus had introduced his method of classifying animals. He has expressed the opinion that, going by the structure of the body, the human species and some ape species appear to be related. In his book, Darwin has not expressed any definite opinion about this relationship. In 1871, he published his second book, The Descent of Man. In this book, he drew attention to the fact that even though humans do not have tails, the last bone of their spine is a vestige of a tail. We have a spine and the last bone of the spine. There was a tail over there, but we humans don't have that. But the bone is still there. He also noted that some other non-functional or unnecessary structures in the human body, such as wisdom teeth, are indicator of the process of evolution. He accepted the inference that humans had evolved from tailless apes like the gorilla and the chimpanzees. These are the apes, gorilla and chimpanzees, that lived in the jungles of Africa. However, no evidence has been found that then in support of this theory. The necessary evidence became available only in the 20th century. So, living things have to adapt themselves during their life. So, here one more picture I have. Here you can see. Now this is in Africa. So these animals they survive only in this region. The giraffe, it was not always like this. Millions of years ago it was small, it had a smaller neck. But because it has to eat the leaves of the higher branches, the neck has become elongated. Then elephants, zebras, they all survive only in these surroundings. Then these are the rainforests. You can see the monkeys, different types of monkeys here, birds. Then here we have the desert. Desert is very hot during the day and it cools down at night. So these are the plant species is the cactus over there. And these are the different types of animals in a desert. These are the woodlands, the forests. So these animals survive there. If they go to some other area, they will not survive. They have to adapt. They have adapted to that surrounding environment. Here we have the Antarctica where it snows a lot. Everything is frozen over there. So penguins and seals and some seagulls, they all exist in this sea lions, they exist only in this cold region. So is it clear? Have you understood the lesson? No. So again, I'll just read out again what is evolution. The development of plants and animals over many thousands of years from simple early forms to more advanced ones. It is a process by which the physical characteristics of types of creatures change over time. New types of creatures develop. The new species are more evolved than the original ones. So these are the different species. There is a table over here. You can draw it in your notebook. This table. Then you can collect pictures of invertebrates and vertebrates and stick them in a notebook and write down their characteristics. So these are the different, and observe all the pictures of vertebrates and invertebrates. And you can collect more pictures and stick it in a notebook. And this table you can draw and in your notebook. Thank you.